Good evening, everyone. Well, good afternoon. It's still afternoon. I am Mother SlimThick PinkLady. I'm speaking a little bit low because I am still at my job placement. I was I came out of a hearing appeal, so I'm here now. Thank y'all for having us. Excuse me, I'm Mother SlimThick PinkLady, and then I have two of my kids here. I have Juju PinkLady, and I have GunShow PinkLady. I can't see them on this thing here, but so we are from the house, the International Iconic House of PinkLady. We are the Toronto chapter. Our house is based in New York. Our Kiki house is based in New York. So from yesterday, I'm pretty sure the people who are on here have heard about Kiki and mainstream ballroom. So we're not going to dive too much into that. I'll just say that we were the first Kiki house that was brought to Toronto, like our chapter, and we've been the longest running chapter in Toronto. So yes, I'm going to send it to my daughter GunShow, PinkLady.
Hello, Mama. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is GunShow, Shola, but my name is GunShow. I would say for us as a house, we are definitely very family oriented. Family always comes first with us. And then also, I think Slim as a mother definitely shows us that kind of love that constructs us as a better person inside and outside of ballroom. So it is definitely just about constructing us as adults, making sure that, we not only win or take losses or wins in ballroom, but how do we learn from that and how does that better us? So I could say for me, that's like a well-rounded way of how we are family. Families bicker, argue, we love, we fight, but all in all, it is all love through that. But my body type would be, I say, slim, fit. That's kind of like my body type. They call me GunShow because of my arms. But ballroom has been an integral part of my coming of age. Not only just physical, but just the dysphoria surrounded around my body and the acceptance of that. Being a masculine presenting female, it isn't easy to cultivate the kind of body that I want and feel accepted. Well, ballroom has really made room for me. Like, it has seen all my phases, all different parts of me growing, and has accepted me like a tough love kind of mother would. So I've always appreciated that, and it's made me aware of a lot of things. Slim has always told us about the certain level of social responsibility me and my other mass siblings have, just because there's just not a lot of representation in the community. And I've always been into fitness. I started posting a lot about my fitness journey when I decided to lose weight. So I went from almost 200 pounds, 197, to my lowest, which was 138. And I had a lot of different masked folks, messaging me saying, how'd you do it? Or can I get certain tips? And that was the moment that I realized, like, Slim was right. There just isn't a lot of mass representation globally in ballroom, and especially in Toronto. So, I'm very privileged to be able to hold space for other masked folk. I'm very privileged to be able to, quote unquote, pave a way for different people. And it's a level of responsibility that I don't take lightly. And it's something that Slim always emphasizes to us. So, yeah.
And my daughter, Juju, PinkLady. She did she get on?
I think.
Oh, she must have left. I'm just gonna bump her up to a moderator. She'll be back in a second. There we go.
Yeah, I think she's
Okay.
under Juju too. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So I'll just go from my side. Oh, perfect. Dora,
So we're just introducing and
yourself.
just a little bit about our ballroom experience.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'm Juju PinkLady, and I've been in ballroom for about almost 2 years. It's about to go on 2 years. And basically, my ballroom journey has been just a self-discovery of confidence. I definitely joined ballroom because I wanted to build confidence and be more comfortable in my own skin. A lot of insecurities going into it, and just when I first came in, I did not want to do anything to do with any category that would judge my appearance. So I came into this like, yep, I want a Vogue. And I was put into something where it was like, we're going to judge how pretty you are, and we're going to judge about your body type and your sex appeal. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm not ready for that. But over the course of my ballroom journey, I definitely grown confidence, have become more comfortable, and like being in the House of Pink Lady where there's so much diversity of body types, gender expression, and all of those different things. There's almost no way that I couldn't have become comfortable with myself, because I was seeing so many different representation and people being comfortable with their own skin. And that's something that I admired, and that's something that I grew to kind of figure out in my own way. But being someone that is femme in a queer scene and tall has been a struggle for me, because everybody has told me if you're femme, you should be shorter, you should be cutesy, and just navigating around my size that I can't control has always been interesting. So that's a little bit about me.
So about me, so like I said, House of Pink Lady, I was one of the first children to become a part of the Kiki House of Pink Lady. But before that, I was no, I became a Monroe. But for me, my journey was about the width of my body. So you rarely see a bigger cis woman in the scene, and I was the first big girl sex siren and the first big girl body in Toronto. So I started that trend, and I was mainly taking up space. I was mainly thinking about, you know, being loud and letting people know that, big girls can do it too. Basically, that's one of my hashtags on my Instagram. Big girls can do it too. Big girls cause problems. Big girls make noise, because, we take up space and you're going to see us. In ballroom for me, it literally was about making that statement a big deal, because a lot of the times body was, or sex siren consisted of women who were maybe size 10 and down, and model-esque Sports Illustrated type body. But things change, times change, people change, and there's more exposure to what people like to see and things like that. So there's, luscious body became a thing, and we stormed those categories. I'm not a tall girl like my daughter, but once I put on a little pump, I'm up there too. So, with my size and my size, I make people know, I make them know it, and yeah. So that's our introduction to the little portion of my full house. So, yeah, where do we want to go with this? I want to talk about gaining confidence in ballroom. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the gaining confidence in ballroom part. So, I guess I'll go first. For me, it was my father, for one, Twisted Miyake Mugler, founder Siriano. He pushed me to, because originally, funny enough, like my daughter, I wanted to Vogue. I came into the scene and I was like, hey, I don't see nobody my size voguing, so I want to Vogue too. And Twisted was like, maybe you should try sex siren. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try sex siren. And then my partner at the time wasn't too comfortable about that, so I went into doing body. And even when I was doing body or sex siren, I was told that I had to wear a girdle, like a girdle to form fit, because I have to present that model-esque looking body. And it wasn't until a ball, funny enough, that Twisted and Marvel had, I think it was called People's Choice at the time, and I got voted for body. And I was winning at the time, and it was just like, I'm gonna stop wearing a girdle. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stop wearing a girdle for balls. I'm gonna just have the effect to form fit me, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to get to wear extra corset over the effect. And that has benefited me. I've walked real balls in effects like that, and it's benefited me. You know, there's some people that don't like it, but there's more people that do. And I've won categories literally because I'm like, I got all of this, I got all of this, but I still got body. So what's up? You know? And also the confidence comes from my mom. Did I freeze? I think I froze. There we go. Oh, I'm freezing again.
Yeah, we can still hear you, but
Okay, perfect. So,
yeah. And she's gone. She's gone.
oh,
Reconnecting. So,
Virtual life, this is what it comes with.
blame moments.
reload this.
Okay. I'll go. I can go.
Yeah.
In terms of confidence, a lot of how Slim was taught is definitely how we were taught as well. I think in terms of my confidence, Slim encouraged me to be what wasn't there. Like again, for me, there isn't a lot of mask representation in the ballroom scene. So not only did I walk categories that normally mask folk walk, but walking categories like body and potentially sex siren was something very unfamiliar for me. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned was you have to trust in your parent, like you have to trust in your mother. And I feel like the confidence that I felt and I feel today, I never would have thought I could feel if it wasn't for the things that Slim has instilled in me. You know, it's kind of like those things where your parents will tell you something and you don't understand it now, but later you will. And those are kind of the lessons that she's taught us. It's just she knows better and she's gone through it. So therefore, trusting in her has always been a pivotal part of our growth. So it's always been great for me. You know, again, I've had times where I wasn't really confident in my body, walking my category, being masked. I'm like, you know, I want the full six pack, and having a big butt as a masked person isn't always the most comfortable thing. But just like what Slim said, it's not about how the category is molded, it's how you shape it. You set the standard for yourself. And if you could rock it with the utmost confidence, then that's all that really matters. So that made me more confident. And exactly what she's saying is she just rocks what she's comfortable with. And that's exactly what I did. You know, I continue to work on my body. I continue to do what makes me happy first instead of, you know, letting societal norms appease to my own like psyche. So, yeah.
Is Slim back?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. So, yeah, literally what Shola was saying is what I went through. I had to do it. It needed to be done. You know, if you ever watch Legendary, LaRoche, his name is, he says, you did what needed to be done. And that's exactly what I did. I did what needed to be done. And honestly, I wasn't doing it I was doing it for clout. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because like why would you not want to be known for being a fat big girl? But also I was doing it because I needed to show myself that I was confident enough to do it. And like, people ask me this all the time, how do you feel? Like, does it ever change your confidence level? Like, is it like, how easy is it for you to walk a ball or do anything? And I always say it's never easy. Like, it's never easy. And every time I walk a ball, literally right before I go on stage, I feel like I drank 20 gallons of water and I need to go to the bathroom. It doesn't change because you never know who is on the panel. You never know what is on the panel. You don't know what they're looking for. You just know what the category calls for. And confidence is about 95% of your whole effect in ballroom. So yeah, I had to make that stride. And also being a mother, I knew that I had to be able to teach this to people. And if I can't do it myself, then how would I be able to teach it to people, right? So, Juju, what about you?
Very true. In terms of gaining confidence through ballroom, I came into ballroom being very self-conscious of my physical appearance, and that's just been distilled in me from my childhood and being like pressured to be on diet and exercise from like grade 4 all through high school. And like when I look back, I was actually very, very skinny. So I'm not sure where that came from, but it definitely followed me into my adult life. So when I joined ballroom and I didn't want to do any categories that would either critique or compliment my physical appearance. Slim pushed me into doing face. And I was completely terrified because even though it was about my face, I was still like, oh, but my body is still here. Like, I'm not doing anything with my body that could distract people from staring at it and critiquing it and judging me based off of how I look. The fact that I'm much taller than most people or most females, or I'm a little bit more top heavy, or just overall just bigger, just a big presence. So it was very hard to gain confidence in the beginning, the first, the second, the third, the sixth ball, because at the end of the day, I was always like, oh my gosh, people are still going to see, you know, my arm is still big, I'm still self-conscious about my back, I'm still subconscious about whatever double chin I think I have very bad body dysmorphia, and that's something that I come to realize. But gaining confidence through ballroom is just realizing that, yes, there's a category, but you're going to be some people's type and you're going to be not some people's type. Like, you're either for some people or some people are going to look at you and be like, no, not feeling it. And that's just going to be in any space that you're in. So to go into ballroom and walking face alone, it was like I was realizing that I have a rounder face and other people have more of that structured, you know, snatched face, but I was still beating people like that. I was losing to people like that as well. So I learned very quickly that it actually isn't based off of appearance. It honestly is just based off of how you sell yourself, how you brand yourself. So after that, I was like, okay, let's do Sex Siren, where, you know, they're going to see all the body, they're going to see all the face, they're going to see everything. Because at the end of the day, as long as I feel like my body is sexy, my body is exactly what I want it to be, then that's exactly what I lead with, and that's still going to make people gag and make people be like, ooh, you know, that roll on your back is still cute because you sold it like you didn't care, like nobody's business, right? But yeah, gaining confidence in ballroom is definitely, I feel like it's exactly what happens once you join ballroom. There's no way that you can come into it and be insecure about yourself for your whole journey in ballroom, because there's just so many opportunities where you will get complimented, you will get put down a bit when people are like, ooh, this person has body over you, or this person has face over you, or this person's sexier than you. But at the end of the day, someone will always come to you and be like, listen, the reason we say that is because you were looking down, you didn't look like you were into it. And then you quickly start to realize that it's not me physically, but it's me mentally, because you're just in your head and thinking like you can't do it. So that's how I built my confidence in ballroom. And also having a mother like SlimThick, who is, we could say, not traditionally what social standard would say is the ideal body type, who still goes out there and kills it every single time, doesn't care what anybody has to say, the critiques they have for her. She will still go out there and be like, I'm a big girl, I'm here to take up space, and I'm proud of it. I'm still beautiful. If you don't like it, then you could go somewhere else. That's just how it goes. So having her around definitely also helped, because she's pushed me literally out to walk a ball more than once, because I will go into my hermit shell and just be like, I'm not doing it. And she's like, no, you are. Push. And that's it.
Even to add to that, like, the level of social conditioning, positive social conditioning that we are under is just so beneficial, because just as like what Juju said, when you're overthinking things, everyone can see it. Like, everyone can see it. You feel it. That shaky nervousness is not natural. Like, especially, it's not natural when you're amongst your peers. You're not supposed to get that nervous. You're not. That's just you psyching yourself out. So when you have someone like Slim, and even Juju, even Kiki, a whole bunch of other people in our family reassuring us in that way, it reassures us in every other aspect of life. Our confidence is so universal outside of ballroom. So yeah.
Worry about yourself.
Yep.
It is the Pink Lady mantra. Worry about yourself.
Yes. Worry about yourself means worry about yourself and your family, but mainly worry about yourself, because When we have practice, before COVID, Jesus, before COVID, when we used to have practice, it's a loaded corral in the practice room. So in order when we're practicing for balls, I tell everybody to worry about yourself, because a lot of the times you're the last person on the floor. So we need you to, you know, we need you to be able to clear, and the only way you can clear is if your mind is clear. And that's where the confidence comes from. I fight for my kids. Everybody knows that. If I'm not on the panel, I'm sitting up at the panel every time. I'm walking my kids on the floor. I'm screaming with my kids, and I'm screaming at the judges for my kids, because that's how you build confidence. When you feel like you have somebody in your corner, even if you're not leaning on yourself on the inside, you're leaning on the person in your corner. So, you have to worry about yourself, but I'm also worrying about you too, as a mother and as a friend and as a confidant and everything in between and outside and around. In ballroom, you mentioned beauty standards for the categories in balls. Are these expectations started to break down, or is it just like a few, like you challenging these norms? Um, hmm. They're starting to break down. I would say they're starting to break down, because I remember when I first came into ballroom, like for Juju, face is her main category. And when I first came into ballroom, you would never see a girl with a gap tooth walking face, or a girl with piercings in her face walking face. That was just like against it. But now I would say, because of so many models, including like Rihanna bringing all these models to the forefront, where it was just like beauty's not just one way, beauty is not just one standard. The beauty industry is not just one thing, because there's many other women out there in the world, or many other men out there, or people who choose to be whatever they are. But you have to acknowledge everyone. I feel like ballroom is now starting to do that slowly but surely. The same thing GunShow said, where it was like you didn't really see a masked woman walking body. It was always a cisgendered male or cisgendered female, and or the femme queens walking body. Now with bringing in GunShow, I said, but she does have body. She does have body. She's supposed to be seen. This is a muscular body. She is supposed to be seen. She dominates the category. So yes, she's going to be there. Um, and I feel like for my house, it's definitely about challenging the standards that people are used to, because everybody likes something. We need to bring it all out to the forefront. There's nothing new under the sun. So, we
And
need to be seen. Y'all want to say something?
yeah, to even add to that, like you answer the question, it's definitely breaking down, but it's also the importance of what Slim is saying is to change the mindset, like to change the status quo, to change it, because it's one thing for people to have their own personal preferences, 110%. Just like what Juju said, you're gonna like what you like, and you're not gonna like what you don't like. But when a mass majority of people do not like this one thing or this one body type, then that's not fair. Then that's not right. And again, like as a masculine presenting female, it's in all aspects of the world, it's hard to feel like what I'm bringing to the table is attractive. And that's what Slim is saying, like, she's going to be seen. So it's not just about being seen, but it's about altering that reality that we live in, to say that what I bring to the table, what anybody brings to the table, isn't attractive or appealing to anyone.
Right. And also to add to that, like from when I joined Ballroom and I looked at the category body in particular, I automatically was like, yep, there's no space for me here, because I'm not curvy enough to be like, oh, this is bigger body. I'm not fit enough to be like, oh, this is like, what is this, like athletic bodies per se. But I was like,
Yeah.
but people
Yeah.
have looked at me and been like, Juju, you should walk body. But I'm like, but where am I gonna fit? And then it's always coming down to like, what do people classify as body? Are people saying people that have more body, like literally more body, is that body? Or is it a sculpted body that, is somebody that works out every single day have body over somebody that has curves? And then trying to be like, oh, well, Juju, you have body. It's like, oh, but like, how? Because I've only seen two different types of body types. come into
Yeah.
the scene and win categories. So how could I say I have body when it seems that the category is still so narrow? But just to bring it back, it's like forcing people to see that there are so many different types of body types that you can't just narrow it to just two things. But that's just because we are such a diverse group of people. Like minorities are diverse as hell. Like you can't tell me that you've only seen one type of Black person, one type of Asian person, even one type of white person. Like there's so many different type of people in the world that ballroom has to evolve eventually, and it has to include everyone, because it's starting, like the world is starting to become where there is not one type of beauty standard, because there's just too much people here.
100%.
So yeah.
Even in pose, like there's literally, I think for about 7 seconds I saw a masked person, and I think they were walking executive realness. So
Right.
and that's me inferring. And obviously, pose, for people that did not know about ballroom community, this was a big, I didn't even know this community existed. And there was next to no masked people there, or people of varying different body types, and it just missed the ball on that one. So it's up for us in real life to just change it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like the more exposure we get, it's literally about exposure. That's why I tell my kids, as soon as the world open up, we out. We making moves. We out, because we need everybody to see us. Just like everybody else wants to be seen, we need everybody to see us, because we have things to be shown. We have talent. There's also, like, when we talk about bodies, we need to also talk about the healing process, like emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, because, like, ballroom has a way of chewing you up and spitting you out, and there's a mental and physical rest that your body needs to take sometimes. Like I remember back in 2012 or 2013, I think 2013, when Twister like fractured his ankle and he couldn't really walk any balls, but he was always at a ball. He was always at the ball. I remember when I refractured my knee in 2014 or 2014. I couldn't walk any balls. I couldn't even go to a ball, actually. Like it was just hard for me to travel, and it takes a lot out on you, because sometimes you feel like not everybody wants to deal with you. Not everybody wants to take you on as a burden. You're trying to figure out if you actually really have family, like your chosen family, and then there's something that you want to be in and be a part of, because you feel like this is where you belong. But if you can't attend or make it or things like that, it does take a toll on you, or if you can't practice your craft, that takes a toll on you, and it's heavy. But the resilience in ballroom is what makes you want to heal faster. The resilience of being in ballroom is like, child, I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. I'm ready to go, and then it prepares you for what it's I want to say it's like riding a bike, but it also prepares you for what's ahead, because you've had time to sit, you've had time to look, you've had time to watch. But yeah, it prepares you. Like
even to add to that, Slim, like I think when we watch shows like Pose, or we see ballroom competitions, like we forget what ballroom was founded upon, which is family. Like we forget, we go through the competitions and we go through everything, winning, losing, arguing, bickering, like a whole bunch of stuff. But like ballroom was founded upon, different queers not having a space for themselves, different queers being rejected constantly from society and not having a space to grow and be themselves. So in real life, in ballroom, like you do see that we may fight and bicker, but at the end of the day, there's a zero tolerance level for certain things, and that's what I most respect here. Like we are all competitive, but when it comes to real life learning, being responsible and caring for each other, we all do that. So there's a lot of growth in learning and just care for each other.
And I think it's a lot of just like overall acceptance and feeling that acceptance from other people. Because for me, like to add to Slim's, what she just said, I completely broke my leg in July, and I remember like my healing process was absolutely horrible because I was like, oh my God, I built up all this confidence and now I just lost the platform that, you know, helped me get that confidence. And then to be on bed rest and gain weight in places that I never really had weight in was very, very uncomfortable. And then to have balls be virtual and stuff like that. And, you know, my family, my ballroom family tell me like, oh, you should walk the ball like now that you're better. And I was just like, I can't, like, I'm not myself anymore. I have all this weight, even though it might not seem like a lot of weight, but it's a lot for me. And I haven't walked the ball. No one has seen me. I lost a lot of my confidence from that injury. And my family was there for me and was very understanding. Nobody pushed me past my limits. They were pretty much like, if you're not comfortable, it's fine. Like that is completely okay. You come back when you feel comfortable enough to get back to where you left off. So it's just that overall acceptance and the overall just the theme of family and the welcoming feeling of having people in your corner overall that you can't, again, you can't not be confident being in ballroom and going through that journey in ballroom because there's just so much people, even people in other houses that will still tell you like you're fab, like you're beautiful, you're good, you should walk every category because it's a gag. Like everything is just a gag. Whatever you do, you just stepping out. I went to a ball on my crutches and everyone was gagging because they're just like, what? Why? What do you mean you're here? Still your face is on. You're wearing a dress and you're on crutches. Like there's no better feeling than having people cheer you on and accept you for exactly who you are, no matter who you are. And that's just, it can't get better than that.
Facts.
Ooh, my kids, they make me so happy. I honestly, I just feel like all we can do is continuously repeat to love on yourself. It's so important to make people aware of how much you love yourself. And loving yourself is like creating boundaries with whatever it is, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, creating boundaries, but also being willing to accept constructive criticism when it comes to ballroom. Not all of it is constructive. We're not saying that it is, but you know, you can pick through, according to my mother, you can pick sense from nonsense with constructive criticism when it comes to your beautiful black body. And oh, did she come back?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Virtual life.
Right.
I actually like this better than Zoom, no shade. But yeah, like it love, love, love. Like as my kids keep saying, I'm a tough nut, you know, and they have definitely pulled me up on me being a tough nut. But I can't get away from being this tough person because I know what they are capable of. I see it. I see far into the future, and I see all these beautiful shiny things coming my way, and they look like trophies, you know. And I just know that my children are all capable of doing this because they're doing the most in here because they have the ability and the stride and the strike. You know what I mean? But also, like I just said before, I really tell them to love on themselves. Like I message each one of them personally when they put up a cute picture on Instagram. I spotlight them. I talk about them. I brag about them because I'm proud of them, and that also helps into their confidence. Just knowing that somebody's proud of what they thought they couldn't do, you know. Does anybody else have any more questions? Like we're at the question period. Before we go into, while we talk about the while people put up questions, I'm just let the questions fill up in the question box and then we'll get to them. I want to speak about, like, somebody asked about the beauty standards in ballroom. Ballroom in the States has also made their own stride because, like, again, there was a time when certain things were not really allowed, but now we have like big boy runway, big girl runway, which is like big femme queens and big cis men or butch queens walking runway. We have short boy runway. We have tall boy runway. We have like I said with body, there's luscious, big girl body. There's big girl face now. I think there's big girl Vogue. I'm not sure, but they're starting to definitely make avenues for people to compete, so they don't have to conform, if that makes sense. They're starting to make avenues for people to compete so they don't have to conform. Because, baby, I have seen some big boys dip, and I wish I had their Megan Thee Stallion knees, but I don't. And, but like 10 years ago, that wasn't a thing. You barely saw it, you know? And you know what? Actually, Gun Show, it's a good thing you said that there was no masked women in that show because I barely saw any either. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably remember that one episode that you're speaking of. So we definitely need to pull and drag that representation because, especially with our ballroom scene, well, I don't want to say our ballroom scene. I want to say ballroom scene in a whole because, you know, I've been around for a little bit, so I can speak from this attest. We barely see masked women. Barely.
Yep.
They come, they go. They
From our
come,
house.
they come, they go. Right.
We have the
They
most
come,
in our house.
They're
Like,
in our house. That's
we have
literally
the
it.
most. The pinks have the most right now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the pinks still had the most because we had two, and there was one at every other house. And then even in ballroom in the States, they had to create a whole separate scene to accommodate cis women, butches, and trans, and it's called the WBT scene because the mainstream ballroom there wasn't a lot of space there, and even though we were pushing and pushing and pushing, some things were still not justified. So now, I mean, now again, going back to what my kids have said, we are pushing the boundaries to the point where conversations are starting to come up, not just the House of Pink Lady, but like in general, but for me, because I have masked women walking runway. So there's a conversation now starting to come up with women masked presenting or women who don't necessarily walk women's runway are starting to walk are walking all American. And it's like, I'm not gonna put my masked women up in heels because they're not comfortable with that, but they can still walk on the runway. That is another category that we are pushing and pushing and pulling to get into because we are talented in that right too. It's just I'm not gonna put masked women where they don't feel comfortable, which is up in a heel, but they can walk a runway just like any other boys. So yeah, that's a big deal for us. We're pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling.
And I think that was
Go ahead.
I think that was the one thing that when I first came into the scene that I was like, this doesn't seem that fair because who's to say that, you know, I don't have a certain talent just because of the way that I present myself or the way that I look. Like, for example, Big Boy Vogue, it's like, why would you downgrade that person's talent just because they're a bigger person if they can still do everything that everybody else can do? Same thing when there was no big girl face. It's like, who's to say a girl that has a rounder face isn't pretty and doesn't have face? And I quickly wanted to come out the scene when I first joined only for that reason, because I'm the type of person that I always feel like there's a lot of spaces that I am not included in. So when I came and it was like, these are the categories, these are the subcategories, and I was like, okay, I'm not a femme queen. I'm cisgendered, but it's like but I'm not like cisgendered like the cisgendered women that I see walking. Okay. And then I'm just like, I'm not a butch queen. Like and it was just very much so of that, I don't know if I could do this because I don't know where I will fit just based off of the fact that I am who I am. So that was a good point to bring up, that it's very much why is it that we have to conform to the categories instead of just saying, hey, I like to Vogue. period. Hey, I'm pretty, period. Hey, I have a body, period. And so on and so forth. And what were you gonna say, GunShow? Sorry for
No, I was just gonna say, just going back to what Slim was saying. One, there's the lack of representation, but there's also reason why I always emphasize how Slim has prepared us is because there's such a high level of alienation when it comes to masked folk in the community, because it's the whole gender is a construct. Like, why is masculinity only masculine on a man? You know, so and that's what unfortunately we still see. So things are getting better, but there's still so much work because the level of alienation is so high because it's like, okay, when I'm walking, if we're walking executive realness, we're walking against men. Like, we're walking against, you know, cis men or men. And then if we're walking against trans men, or, you know, so it's just this level of like, don't just throw us in a certain place where we kind of feel like, okay, this might work. No, like, create our own category. There's enough masked women in the world to do that. There's not a lack of us. There's so much of us, and I feel like why you don't see us is because of this very same reason. How is a masked woman in the scene gonna come and say, yeah, I feel right at home? Well, I mean, no, they wouldn't. And this is why I keep saying again, this is why Slim is so hard on us, because like Juju said, there's so much diversity in our house alone, a diversity that is not commonly accepted, so that we have to be stronger. And even to answer someone's question, it said, as a master, how did you find the confidence to walk runway? How do you deal with insecurities? I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, especially I hadn't starting Ballroom. I was still I still had more weight on me, right? And walking these masculine categories, the first thing they're gonna look at you is that little pouch under your belly. They're gonna look at your ass. They're gonna look at your thighs. They're gonna look at all the things that quote unquote don't make you masculine. So it's not easy. But the biggest thing is to kind of push through with confidence. It's also important to be big when you're representing yourself, because when you're big and you're confident, it's almost intimidating. So you can just create that space within yourself, because not everybody is biased that way. And just like what Juju was saying, some people are gonna like you and some people are not. But one person does not make the whole panel. You know, one person does not make the whole panel. And if we continue to just be there, continue to show up on every ball, continue to just keep storming every ball, we are going to become the norm. But we have to kind of pave the way before, you know, normalcy even exists, right? But yeah, that's how I dealt with my insecurities. Again, Slim is a tough love kind of mama, so you're going to deal with it regardless. And Juju said it herself, like, you know, people compliment you up in the scene and they say different things to you, but you got to know it within yourself that you're the baddest bitch out there, and ain't nobody gonna tell you shit. So yeah.
And I applaud Shola GunShow, because I remember, I think it was when you like just or was about to join, and there was a conversation of you walking realness, and somebody in this group said, well, are you transitioning? And you're like, no, and they're like, oh, so I don't think you can walk realness. And I was standing there like, oh my God, like, really? Like, are you kidding? Like, that's all it, like, you can't be a female and walk realness as a mask presenting female. You must be transitioning, or you must be a man. Like, and then it just goes back, it reminds me of being in like straight spaces where people are always like, you see a lesbian couple when one is masculine and one is feminine, and people are like, oh, masculine, she's the man of the relationship. Yeah. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that. And it always goes back to the heteronormatives that I feel like we need to really throw out the window and throw in the garbage, because there's just too much diversity for people to be conformed to just one type of thing. It's like, just because you wear men's fashion and you appreciate men's fashion does not mean you want to be a man, because at the end of the day, it's just clothes. So exactly. I applaud you.
Thank you, sister. No, masculinity is definitely an aura, and you'll definitely feel my masculinity when I walk into the room, and that's just sort of a fact. And that specific instance has never left my brain ever, because it wasn't just that one person. It was people surrounding, picking at me, looking at me, and just
you're too soft, you're too light.
You got no hair on you. I'm like, I don't even like hair on me.
I remember we had a conversation right after that, because we went in the Uber, and you were just like, oh my God, like I don't know
I
I
was
don't know if I
taken.
want to do it because like, whoa, that was so
But
uncalled for.
I could have really let that break me. I really could have let that be the thing that separated me. I don't really want to do it. And to answer, again to that person's questions, like I feel like that's really what trumps your insecurities. You can decide to
Mhm.
make you stronger, or you can decide to let it break you. It's really up to you.
Yeah,
You know.
because
And
one of the first things someone told me was like, this person has face over you. And I was just like,
who?
okay. And it's like I won my first ball, and still people were like, I don't think you should have won because this person definitely has face over you. And I was like, are you telling me right now, with you that doesn't walk face,
And
that
the pictures don't
this person
lie.
is better looking than me? Like, there's no way that you could be the person to judge me on how beautiful I am, because I
Mhm.
know that I was beautiful that day. I took time on my makeup, and literally people were just like, nope, don't think you should have won that. And after that, it honestly did get to me because, like I said, I came into the scene very, very insecure and self-conscious, don't want people staring at me, nothing like that, to see any type of imperfection. So when that happened, I was like, oh, definitely not walking any other ball. And then on top of that, you have people being like, this person will beat you, this person will beat you, because they just have it over you.
Mhm.
They just have it over you. That's it. No explanation. They have face over you. This person will beat you because they have body over you. This person will beat you because they're sexier than you, whatever. So yeah, it's tough.
Sorry, to go back to the incident we were talking about. Like it's so important to have family in your corner, especially family in ballroom that understand things. Because I could have left that conversation and I was like, okay, I need to start taking testosterone. Like I need to do I like it could have just made me it did it made me have so many questions about myself, my body, mentally, who I identify as, what I should identify as, because I'm a competitive competitive person. So the fact that you said, or someone, sorry, not you, someone said that I couldn't walk a category, like that literally is for masked folk, it just took me back. And I was like, okay, so clearly I'm lacking something, whether it's biologically, DNA, mentally, physically, I need to fix myself. But I was so glad that I had, like, even Juju in that Uber, I was so glad that we had that conversation because it gave me the time to reflect on what I want as opposed to what other people expect of me. So again, it never leaves my mind. Never leaves my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, the days. The days when people like to talk to my children when I'm not around.
Right.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. There is a question. It said, did you ever Vogue Slim Thick? You mentioned you were pushed away from Vogue initially to Body and Sex Siren. Also, thank you for sharing inspiration, all three of you. Thank you, Neon. I did Vogue. There is a clip floating around YouTube.
Yep.
I'm not going to say where it is. It was a ball. I had on a pink tutu. You're welcome. Uh, I I was pushed because it was more like where the talent lies. Like it's
Mhm.
like I do this with my kids. I'm like, it's great that you want to do everything, but let's focus on one, and then we're gonna go on to the other side brackets that you want to try. So for me, it was like I was voguing and I was practicing voguing, but when it came time to walk, I pulled myself back and I stopped that. But I was more confident in being a big girl. I was more confident in showing myself, showing all these stretch marks, showing all the chicken wings and the bakeries and all of that. Yeah, I was more confident in that rather than voguing. I mean, I could do a little cute catwalk now, um,
Mhm.
and I could kind of do everything else except for the dip, girl. You catch me on a dip, you better catch that video. 'Cause I can't do it again. But even that for me with my body, because I have two fractured knees, the thought of voguing, it scares me because I feel like I can definitely get it in practice. Come time for the
Uh-huh.
ball, my knees might give out, and there goes the whole like chop from the back. You know what I mean? So it's scary and it pulls me back. But again, I have to be confident because I have to show my kids that regardless, we can all do it. And I'm still trying to Vogue, child. So hopefully sometime in the near future, 2025, you might catch SlimThick doing a dip. We don't know. But oh, okay. Bye, Debbie. Um, yeah. Anybody has any other questions? Questions? Anyone? You can ask anything.
Mm-hmm.
It said Robin left. Is he still here?
That was another Robin.
I'm
Oh, that's
here.
another Robin.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Robin is
okay,
still
okay.
here.
Robin, do you have any questions for us?
That's a good question for me. I really appreciate everyone, as I think someone said in the chat there, just you all sharing your experiences. I'm learning so much, and as I'm assuming a lot of other folks are as well. And I think there seems to be something special, Slim and Juju and GunShow, that you're all creating together in the House of PinkLady, right? There seems to be something here. It sounds like there's a bit of, and maybe all the way back to when you first started Ball, SlimThick, like challenging some of these standards and these norms from the discussion, the experience that you just shared, GunShow, about mask categories and walking them, and SlimThick about not wearing the is it like a girdle or like
Mm-hmm.
an hourglass
Yep.
thing anymore, like a corset,
Yep.
sorry, getting rid of the corset, like just constantly pushing to evolve and then bringing other people into the space. So maybe you could all talk a little bit about the House of PinkLady to finish off. And I think there maybe was one more question that came in the chat. Yeah, but
Yeah.
about the House of PinkLady and what that maybe means, how it feels for you, and sort of what you're trying to accomplish through the house.
Right. So the question is, what would you say your favorite memory while at a ball? What is a way that you hype yourself up before a ball? So, okay, so I'm going to let Juju answer this question first.
So sorry, read the question again.
So
I'm
what? So
scared
the
that if I
question
do
is, oh, let me turn off my camera so I could just talk and it won't chip up. What would you say is your favorite memory while at a ball? What is a way that you would hype yourself up before a ball? I have my favorite memory, Juju, but I'm gonna let her do that.
I would love to know what your favorite memory is. So my favorite memory, honestly, is when I finally got to battle the one person that everybody told me that I would not beat. And it was the best thing ever because she stormed me at a ball prior to that. I told her to meet me at the back on Facebook, and then I battled, and then I won, and I was like, oh, I was so excited. And before that, to answer the what I did to hype myself up that day, I was honestly just thinking about every single person that told me that I can't do it. That was just like, it's not gonna happen. This is going to be the biggest competition you have. It's like you're just not going to be able to beat this person. Like, and I felt like I really had something to prove. I kind of put aside all the insecurities, all the fear of performing, being in front of people, being judged, because I was like, no, I know that I am that. I don't know if I could swear, but I know I'm that bitch. Like, I could do this. I know that I could beat
Period.
this person. You can't tell me that what, because they showed up they could beat me? Why? Like, there is no explanation. So when I did beat her, I was like, ooh, now it is game on. Now I'm confident. And then I got into my accident and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, that's my favorite memory. And honestly, just really taking in all the hate, all the negativity, and soaking it up and being like, do I want to prove these people right, or do I want to prove them wrong? And that's always something I go into any ball, anything that I do within the ballroom scene, I go into that mindset with, because it's like, you're not going to tell me I can't do something. You don't know me. You don't know me.
Period.
But what's
Period.
your favorite memory, Slim?
When you won the 350 in Montreal.
Oh, yes. No, that
That was,
honestly,
yes,
that
that was
was
my favorite
amazing.
moment.
I think that was when I really got confident. That was like the stamp of my confidence, for
Yes,
sure.
it was my first time in Montreal since I've ever been living in Canada, and we went for the Mother's Day ball, and I was a judge. They asked me to come up there as a judge, and just to have my child walk a category that was just thrown in there last minute, and she took Winner Takes All because it was $250 at first, and then they started adding money to the end of the category when they started seeing who was walking. So it went up by $100, and I just looked at Juju. I was like, "You better win that money, girl!" And like her smile lit up the room from the back, and she was wearing this white dress, and her hair was in a bob, and she had on a soft nude brown makeup. Her
The
teeth was
music
just
stops.
her dimples, everything, and the grief and headache we went through, huh?
And the music stops.
And the music
Like
stopped, and the grief and the
everything
headache
stops
that
right
we
in the
went
middle.
through before we even got to the ball, and just for Juju to win at my first judging ball in Montreal, it's just like a proud mommy moment, you know, when the parents go on the children go on the stage and like Hercules, Hercules. That's how I felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt. And you know, GunShow, I'm gonna just throw in my favorite moment of you is when she first walked, her first time walking. She came out, her little six pack. It was like 5.5 maybe, and she was like, "Mama, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this." And when she came and she just like this, and then she went to the back, and the whole crowd. And you know what's even better? She did it in chancletas. She did it in some flip flops. Okay, toes out and all. Toes
That was
out
the
and all.
effect.
Cleared. That was the effect, but cleared. That was my favorite moment. But daughter, you go ahead. Tell me your favorite moment.
I think my favorite moment was our house ball. When
Yeah.
I was way more comfortable with my body at that point too. So I think it was a merge of body and sex siren, and
Yeah.
it was a gag. Like I loved it. I went out there with the most confidence I had ever experienced in my body in my life. Like I just didn't feel any type of weight. And I remember at the back, Slim was like grabbing my.
Yeah.
She was
I was like,
and she, like literally, like when I say tough love, mom, like this is the epitome of. And I just went out there and I did it. I walked, I gave body, I gave sex, and it was probably one of my most memorable moments. How I get myself prepared. I drink apple cider vinegar pretty much all day. Just to flush out my system. It's disgusting, like just shots of it sometimes, like 2 or 3, and then I'm just doing push-ups in the back, just trying to keep my blood flowing and as
yes,
best as I
she does.
can. Everybody's like oiling up each other, and that's what it is.
We're very touchy-feely in this house, you know? So don't come to Pink if you don't want to get touched.
Right.
We're very hands-on with our house. Let's say that. We try to be very hands-on. We try because it's one thing to be a 007 and not have anyone help you prepare for your category in the back. It's different when you have a family and nobody's there to help you. So we definitely work on that. It is a work in progress. We are not perfect, but we damn sure ain't bad. Me, family first, right? That's one of our mantras. Like, whew, when we did homecoming, that was to answer your question, Robin. To be a pink lady. Let me say this. Okay, so when we did homecoming, that was my first ball as a house mother of the Kiki house on my own because I'm a single parent, and I was just worried that everybody would find everything to critique. But there was one part of the Grand March where I asked the masked women in the house what does it mean? What does being a pink mean to you? And a lot of the answers was about confidence, having some sort of stability, having family first, accountability, learning to love on one another, learning to accept what we can't change, but work on it. And that's what being a pink lady means. That's what our house is. And also, we're not stern, we're not stiff. We a Banji house. We ride together, we die together, bad boys for life. That's how we are. If you see one of us, you stay with us. You ride with us. If you don't, it's okay. You weren't meant to be a pink in the first place. But anyway,
Right.
that's how we are. Bad boys for life. Like, we're gonna fight together. We could fight each other, but you're not gonna know that we're fighting each other. We're gonna fight you first. That's how we are.
Right.
That's how we are. We're the girls. We make the most noise, and when we leave, there's no noise. So
That's why they
um,
mad.
right. Thank you for your stories. In terms of being in others, wait, in terms of being others into space, can you share on outreach to youth? Oh, being in the space. Um, Honestly, I could only answer this question. So I'm assuming this question is saying, how do we involve others in our space and outreach to the youth? Honestly, ballroom is ever changing, and the ways to access ballroom is becoming more and more, which is awesome. In terms of like school, outreach in general happens by way of mouth, to be honest, because I met Shola at a whole festival because of another one of my kids, and Juju, I knew Juju years prior to this, but she was brought back to me through someone else. And
No, I looked for you, mommy. I looked for
well,
you. I was
yes,
like, I know her. I want to be
yes,
in ballroom now. Where is she?
and right, and a lot of my kids are not necessarily people who I ask to be in the house. It's more like a energy thing. They feel me,
Mm-hmm.
I feel them, and then I say, come to my practice, come check it
Mm-hmm.
out. You already know one of them, come along. That's how I got Butter Pink Lady. If you ever hear, you probably hear of her all the time, like see, AKA Butter Pink Lady. That's how I got Panther Pink Lady. That's how I got who else? Saya. Like just everybody. Everybody's just it's a vibe. It's our energy. We gel. We don't really it's not that we don't mesh. We rock with each other because we're different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's what we try to encourage is the like Juju and GunShow said, the diversity in our house. Like we're looking for a bizarre kid. I don't want to put bizarre in any of my kids because all my kids want to do something else. I need a bizarre kid. Any bizarre kids on this live, come look for me, Slim Thick Monroe on all social media.
Listen, I'll
Like,
do bizarre. I'll do it.
I don't want to do
like,
I can be bizarre.
yeah,
Listen, I'm a weird
um,
kid too.
right. And outreach for youth, like it's literally who I meet. Anybody could get introduced to me. I'm always willing to talk to somebody. It's always about a conversation. Like and most of the times I meet a lot of young kids at a ball. My most
Yep.
recent child, well,
Yeah.
second to most recent child, she came to me from a ball. Like she was introduced to me and she became my child from a ball. It's literally introductions is what works for me. I've gone into schools and done talks about ballroom. I've done facilitations about ballroom and things of that nature. But I
Freedom School.
mainly get kids. Hmm?
Freedom School. We had a ball
Freedom
for Freedom
School,
School too.
right? Freedom School, which is a black put together school by Black Lives Matter Toronto. They had a ball for like babies, like I mean babies, like
Mm-hmm.
3-year-old babies to like 12 and 13-year-old kids. You know what I mean? So it's like ballroom. Technically, the Kiki ballroom scene starts from like 14 to 29, and then mainstream after that. There's a space. The Kiki ballroom is for kids. So I would love more youth to come. It's just when you have younger kids, you have to worry about, well, I worry about how my kids get home anyway in general, but like with younger kids, you have to make sure that there's an adult presence and that that they have the family aspect, that they're being
Mm-hmm.
protected, they're being mindful, they're being taken care of, they're being watched over, things like that. That's how we try to um, outreach to youth. I would love to go back into schools, but COVID's a real thing. So when we can.
Right.
And COVID stopped a lot of us from doing a lot of the
Yes.
things that we would have been doing this year or last year, especially.
Traveling, going to different
Yes, we
balls.
would have been doing a lot more this year. And even though like we currently don't like outreach physically, we try to outreach, through virtual and stuff. So if there's anybody who you want us to speak to, either GunShow, Juju, me, or the house in general, and we can outsource to somebody else in the house, we have our Instagram page, the House of Pink Lady, chapter 416. You can message that and the message will come to us and we will do our due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will drop that Instagram in the chat.
Yes. So yeah. Robin.
Actually,
But
Slim, could
oh yeah.
you drop it in the chat? I can't find it.
Okay.
Sorry, whatever the ad is.
So the last thing we wanted to say is what to my two children, what dun, 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 dun. How do we create body positivity every day?
Ooh, I'll go first. So every day, for me personally, I look at myself in the mirror and then I tell myself, you're not everybody's type, but you're somebody's type. And after that, it can't get better or worse than that because you just have to be honest with yourself. You're not going to be everybody's type, but there is somebody out there that will look at you and say you are the most beautiful person that they have ever seen. There are some people that aren't interested in masculine women that might find me way more attractive than GunShow. And there's some people that are into bigger women that may find Slim more attractive than me and GunShow. And it's just you can't really say that your body is just not it anywhere with anybody because again everybody has a different perspective, a different vision of what beauty is. Everybody has a different beauty standard. So creating body positivity is just knowing that you are for somebody and for others you won't be. And as for me looking at the world itself, it's just saying like everybody's different. Like I can't tell anybody else that they don't have something or they have something because at the end of the day, we are all completely different people. We all like completely different things. What about you, Shola?
I think, as any human being, I think waking up every single day, bettering yourself by, striving for whatever that is for you is it. That's the standard in yourself. So I think for me, what encourages my own self body positivity is just working on my body. Like I've worked so hard to get where I am, and there's no
Yep.
way that somebody can tell me I'm not enough, or there's no way somebody can tell me that you aren't the standard. I am my own standard. I've set the standard for myself, and I meet it every single day by continuing to strive to be better in my own lane. I'm not trying to impede in nobody else's lane. Like that's just exactly like if me and Juju were two completely different people. I don't want to compete with Juju. Like I am
Right.
I'm so happy with my own lane, and I'm so happy with what I've accomplished. But it's just waking up every single day and dedicating yourself to bettering yourself in whatever way that looks like. Because again, we're all different. We look different. We talk different. We're different in so many facets. But being a better version of yourself, now that's progress. That's body positivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period. Yes. And for me, baby, get to know me. I'm body positive every day. My whole thing is, why do I have to walk into the store and pay more money for the same thing that you're wearing? Makes no sense to me. So I'm just pushing and pulling and grinding the gears, definitely taking up space. That's the best thing I can say for body positivity for me. And also, I've also gotten to the habit of looking at myself in the mirror every morning and just be like, ooh, all right, we ready. You know what I mean? Clear your throat, wash your face, feel good, and pop out the door. Even on the days that you don't feel good, you gotta feel good. You gotta try.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is how we celebrate our beautiful Black bodies.
Yay. Thank you very much. I'm gonna hop back on here for a sec and just honestly say thank you so much for all of the stories and experiences and time that you spent and everything that you shared with us tonight. I've learned so much, and I really hope that we can engage again and provide more learning in the future. Absolutely fantastic. I can't just sending so much gratitude to you, Mother SlimThick, to GunShow, to Juju. Fantastic, absolutely wonderful, and yeah, Snoopy as well. I know you're here. Thank you so much for helping to organize this.
Thank you guys so much. You're amazing. I love your energies. and please keep this
Hi.
going.
We
I'm a
love you,
fan.
Snoopy.
I'm a big fan now. I've always been a fan, but I'm a super fan now.
Yes, Snoopy is also a Pink alumni. Just let y'all know.
Yes, back in the day.
Yay.
Back in the day, AA. If there's somebody on the live that could take a picture of the three of us on top here, because all I see is green screens. So
yes, I will do. It's recording right now, so I will do my
Okay.
best to grab a screenshot. Just give me 1 sec. Once everyone leaves, we'll be the only ones in the room, and then I'll get a picture.
I was here posing. I was like,
But thank you so much again. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna pop in. If you want more stuff, we have week-long programming with the Toronto Kiki Ballroom Alliance. Tomorrow night is Vogue Dance with Snoopy at 6 o'clock. So
Come through.
please check out our Instagram, and you can register for that class still. All right.
all right.
We'll just hang out here for a quick sec, and I'll get a screenshot of everybody.
Okay.
If you can get your video working, something?
Is it on? Am I not on?
No, you haven't been on the whole time.
That's weird. I'm here like everything. Oh my gosh. I was here laughing and stuff. Can y'all see me now?
Yeah.
No.
We figured, honestly.
Wow. I'm here like
You know.
smiling and laughing.
I thought you knew. I thought you
I
knew.
did too.
You know
No.
what? Leave and come back and try to reconnect
Okay.
your video. Yeah.
How do I
Right.
leave? How do I do this now?
On the
Just
top.
exit. Oh yeah, at the top is.
Not Slim telling me to fix my face.